Let's start. Today's topic is about sustainable development and agriculture. I will present this topic. I'm a sustainability consultant. I've worked 7 years as a certification officer and auditor. So I've used to audit different sustainable agriculture projects worldwide, mainly in Africa. And I want to to share some important points related to this sustainable agriculture and also to develop some key important points we need when we talk about sustainable agriculture. So let's start with a brief introduction. Agriculture is very important, especially if we are talking about Africa, because all economies are based in agriculture, and agriculture feed millions of families. But instead of that, there is a vital role on the sectors, because there are some issues that Africa's agriculture face. For example, we cannot low productivity, poor infrastructure, and vulnerability to climate change. And today, Africa faces the dual challenge for making this sustainable agriculture, mainly to make it rentable for farmers and sustainable for the environment and future generations. And to achieve this and to resolve these challenges, we need to rethink how we farm, how we use the land and the resources, because Africa have many land and resources, but it is not well exploited. And also it's important to note how we can empower uh, local communities. So these presentations explores all practical strategies and key conditions, mainly related to this sustainable agriculture and sustainable development, because in Africa it is the most important points, and as it is classified on development locations, it's important to develop the sustainable development and agriculture there. The main objective of these presentations is first to show you how the agriculture is important. It's important because it feeds people and gives job to many African people. Farmers face some problems. So if we know how to do this sustainable agriculture, we can we can have a role in helping farmers to face these issues. And we need also better farming, because sustainable agriculture help and introduce modern tools, good seeds, and smart management in the smart method in agricultural production. To protect the environment too, because actually there is a big issue mainly related to climate change. So sustainable agriculture participate to this fighting against climate change, for example, by saving water, take care of soils, and planting trees. All of these actions can help to protect the environment. Use technology too, because sustainable agriculture, especially in developed countries, use different technology like solar power and machines that can help farmers in production. Support farmers and also work together, because sustainable agriculture involves all stakeholders around the location agriculture productions like governments, schools, and businesses and communities. So let's start the presentation by presenting you uh, the main framework of this sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture and sustainable development is the development that meets present needs without compromising future generations. If you see in these pictures, you cannot main three pillars of sustainability: environmental, which is mainly related to planet protection; economic, profit related to profitability of farmers; and social, which is equity and food security for communities. So, when you are talking about sustainable agriculture, it always involves these three main pillars, and all of the three pillars are related, and they are linked to make the agriculture sustainable. The global challenge actually that we face is the main demand, because population reaching about 9.7 billion by 2050, and it requires about 60 to 70% more food. So against that, there are some constraints like land, because 33% of global soil is degraded. Water, because agriculture consumes about 70% of fresh waters, and related to climate, agriculture contributes about 23% of global greenhouse gas emissions. All of these constraints and challenges we face actually. Let's see how these three pillars are working. Environmental pillar, by explaining the solar health. The issue is conventional tilling releases carbon and destroys soil structure, and the solution is related to regenerative agriculture. So we cannot, for example, no-till farming, planting which means planting without disturbing the soil; cover crops, which is a planting of season to fix nitrogen and prevent erosion; and crop rotation, breaking pest cycles naturally. These are examples of applications when we are talking about regenerative agriculture. To, to see more details about this conservation tillage, it's a type of land management that is less intrusive to the soil than conventional farming. It's all about protecting the topsoil by managing crop residue and limiting soil disturbance within a minimum or no tillage. This conservation tillage have four ways of conservations. First, it promotes soil health, conserve resources, decreased energy use, and carbon sequestrations. It's the most important that we can use regarding we can get from soil health, because carbon sequestrations contribute to reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and the soil nutrient loss. When we are talking about environmental pillar, there is also the water efficiency. You can see in the picture what it is mainly from flood irrigation to precision irrigations. So the water need to be well managed when we are talking about sustainable agriculture. We can have different techniques to manage the water use. First, cheap irrigations, which means delivers water directly to roots. There are different techniques for that, and it can we can get 90% of efficiency by using drip irrigation. Rainwater harvesting, which means capturing runoff for dry seasons, and drought-tolerant crops, which involve planting varieties adaptive to local climates. You can see in the pictures an example of cheap systems related to hydroponic productions. The water is pumped and then it go directly to the plants to ensure that the water will be well managed. For water management in sustainable agriculture, we can have also different practices. First, conservation practices. This is what we have talked before, mainly related to water conservation practices. Different efficient irrigation techniques which will promote the adoption of efficient irrigations like precision irrigations and the use of technologies, soil health and water retention, crop selection and rotations, because the plants need to be well suited to local climate conditions and promote crop rotation strategies. And all of these two techniques optimize water usage while preventing soil degradation. Finally, we have integrated water resource management, which involved integrating approach to water resource management, and this considers the watershed, promote collaboration among farmers and stakeholders to ensure sustainable water use for agriculture. Let's see actually the economic pillar. We have seen before environmental pillar. Now it's about economic pillar, which is related to profitability. The myth we have actually is sustainable agriculture is too expensive. But the reality we have is lower inputs means less money spent on synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, because in sustainable agriculture we will manage the use of these fertilizers and pesticides. Premium market, for example, access to organic, fair trade and eco-labeled markets. We can get higher price of product by developing sustainable agriculture, especially if a project is certified. Finally, resilience. It diversify farms are less prone to bankruptcy if one crop price crashes. Another social pillar is related to equity and security. We have first food security, because sustainable agriculture ensure access to nutritious food for all. For example, we don't use synthetic fertilizers, so we can have better quality of food. by avoiding these synthetic fertilizers. Labor rights, protecting farm workers from exploitation and toxic exposure. And finally, gender parity. Women comprise about 43% of the workforce in developing nations, and it gives sustainable agriculture give them equal access to resources that could raise yields by 20 to 30%. Sustainable agriculture engage local community, as we see in these examples. It's a location in Africa where a project is developing sustainable agriculture, and in that case, the project should engage all the local communities in order to ensure that the agriculture is sustainable. Community engagement and education are the crucial aspect of implementing sustainable agriculture, fostering collaboration, and building a collective commitment to environmentally conscious farming practices. To involve local community, there are different strategies that we can use. First, community workshops and field days. The main approaches is, for example, conduct community workshops and field days to facilitate the exchange of ideas, experiences, and knowledge related to sustainable agriculture. We have also another strategies that is establishing local networks. For example, we facilitate the creation of local networks or cooperatives where farmers can collaborate, share resources, and collectively address challenges. The last points for this community engagement is involve community leaders, which approaches is related to engagement community leaders to champion sustainable agriculture, leveraging their influence to garner community-wide impact, wide support. The role of technology on sustainable agriculture, for example, precision agriculture. This precision agriculture consists of using data to manage field variations. We have actually different technologies, different tools that can be used in precision agriculture. We have first drones and satellites, multispectral imaging to detect plant stress. So it's important because when we detect plant stress, we can develop the better action to fight about this against this plant stress. IoT sensors, which means real-time soil moisture tracking. This detecting this help to developing the best water management for the locations and then improve yields. Variable rate technology, for example, tractors applying fertilizers only where needed. You can see these pictures, the precision agriculture we can have, and also the development of this precision agriculture. When we have a crop, we can use sensors to make to apply agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and then we are using software to get the data. When we get the data, we can get the decisions apply. In that case, we can also use artificial intelligence to interpret all this data and then take decisions how we will implement on our agriculture productions. This is the main process, and it's important to develop these tools also to better manage the crops and the agriculture. Integrated pest management. This means control pests without destroying the ecosystem. Uh, we have different actions for that. First, preventions, which involve crop rotations and healthy soil, monitoring, checking pest levels, biological control, uh, which involve using predators like ladybugs, spawn walls, and finally chemical control, last resort using targeted sprays. Integrated pest management is a holistic and sustainable approach to manage pests in agriculture. And it focuses mainly on minimizing environmental impact while maintaining economic viability. We have also different strategies to prevent and control pests in this integrated pest management by promoting a balanced ecosystem within agricultural systems. The main principle of IPM is related to biological control, cultural practices, mechanical and physical control, and chemical control. Chemical control, we have, for example, targeted application of specific, less harmful pesticides based on monitoring and their salt level. Reducing food waste, it is also most important points included in sustainable agriculture because one to three of all food is produced is wasted. And by introducing sustainable agriculture, we can have supply chain solutions. First, for post-harvest, better storage and refrigeration in developing nations. Retail and consumers, by accepting weekly produce and clarifying pest by labels. And finally, circular economy by turning food waste into compost or bioenergy. Policy and governance, it's also important in sustainable agriculture. First, shifting government payments from yield to stewardship. Payment for ecosystem services by paying farmers to sequester carbon and filter water. It's a system that it is mainly developed for carbon credit project. And finally, land tenure, giving farmers secure rights to their land, encourages long-term investment. Let's see some case study. We can have a sustainable agriculture, for example, in the Netherlands. The achievement is world's is the second food exporter by value. This Netherlands country, despite it is small size, and we have different methods there for sustainable agriculture. First, high-tech greenhouses. control environments, massive reduction in water and pesticide dependence. So all the water and the pesticides all are well managed. And twice as much food using half as many resources. We have also an example of a case study related to regenerative grazing. The method consists of rotational grazing of livestock to mimic wild herds. The impact of this method help to hooves break up soil cost, aeration, fertilize soil naturally, and deep-rooted grasses capture carbon. The result is turning livestock from climate villains to climate heroes. What is the link of all of this sustainable agriculture to sustainability standards? Sustainability standards are voluntary, usually third-party assessed norms and standards that require products to meet specific economic, social, and environmental sustainability criteria. If we want to develop sustainable agriculture, we can prove that by using or certifying the project with sustainability standards. That's why it's developed here. The main objective of this sustainability standard is to demonstrate the performance of the organizations or product in specific areas. The performance can refer to management effectiveness, branding, product quality or attributes, to production and processing methods, as well as sustainable supply chains. So, sustainable standards are verified with a certification body and check the compliance with standards and the traceability process. We have different types of sustainability standards, environmental standards, social standards, for example, and economic standards, and health and safety standards. All of these standards have their own regulations, and these regulations need to be checked by the third-party verification body to ensure that all the regulations are implemented within the project. We have, for examples, that our main famous fair trade that ensure fair wages and better working conditions for producers in developing countries. ISO 14001, which involved international standards for environmental management systems. Organic certifications, which ensures that agricultural products are produced using organic farming practices without synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. Forest Stewardship Council, FSC, which involve management of forest and responsible wood and paper product. Rainforest Alliance, Fair for Life. There are many sustainability standards, but if we want to use them, we need to check the client requirements and also the market. So this is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm available to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Niavo-Landihajaina Radzibazavi. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for your attendance, for your close attention to this presentation. And I hope you do have pertinent questions for our presenter. There is a statement Ms. Niavo made at the very beginning of her presentation when she reminded us that agriculture is the backbone of many African economies. But I would like to add to that, agriculture is the backbone of every country. It's not just on the African continent. Of course, certain issues and challenges that Ms. Niavo also mentioned may have to deal with low productivity, poor infrastructure, and vulnerability to climate changes. And in a developed country like the United States, for example, the authorities may take the appropriate steps to avoid those issues. But regardless of what the community is or is made of, the United States and Germany or England or Italy, Canada, and so forth and so on, the agriculture is the foundation. I can right now talk to you. You may listen to me, listen to Ms. Niavo, just because we have eaten. We had to go through agriculture to be alive. So in a very, very huge extent, agriculture remains the backbone of every single economy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our time now. I love that our expert has given ample time, a lot of minutes, so to speak, for your questions. And I did ask you to make sure you have your questions ready, and this is now your time. I do understand that some of you, for whatever reason, may be shy and not quite willing to, let's say, stand up or raise your voice and ask your questions, but you may do that as well in the chat block. You may go to the chat section of our screen and type in your questions in there, and I'll take pleasure in reading those questions for our presenter, and I am confident that she will be very pleased to address or answer those questions. Let's begin with Mema Mahamdi. The floor is yours, Mema. We are ready for your question, Mema. Please go to your system and make sure your microphone is on. I just turned it on my end. It is now up to you to make sure that microphone is turned on. I have done that on my end, but there is no audio sound from you. And I'm looking, and it looks like your microphone is still off. So anybody else, remember, if you are ready for your question, go ahead and speak it up, or if you prefer the alternative of our block section, the chat block, so to speak. You may go ahead and type in your question in there. I'm glad I do see several hands up. So make sure, Mema, you manage to turn your microphone on, so at the next opportunity, you'll be able to ask your question. Going now to Che Amancho. Go ahead, Che. If your microphone is on, everybody is all ears to listen to you, brother. Che, go ahead, please. We are listening to you. Ah, man.
Presentation, in fact, it is quite elaborate. Yeah, I have a few questions.
Not few. I'm so sorry, please. Not few. One at a time. There are several hands up. We're gonna go through one question at a time. Later on, if we have the time, we can get back to you. Go ahead, Che.
Okay, what are the key principles of sustainable agriculture?
But there is an issue with your microphone also, Che. I started hearing you very well, but the sound has since gone away. I'm so sorry. Everybody's having an issue on this Tuesday. Sorry, Che. Double check your system, please, and I'll get back to you at some point when you are able to regulate the output from your microphone. Let's try Arnaldo Tembe. Arnaldo, is your microphone okay? Are you ready, Arnaldo? Go ahead, please, Arnaldo. The floor is yours at this time. Arnaldo is not ready either. Let's try now Nicolas Item. Let's see how many tries until we can hear somebody adequately. Nicolas.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Vassim. Thank you, Dr. Nievo. Agriculture is the bedrock of every economy, especially in Africa. How do the small agriculture, small farmers get money to sustain the agricultural investment?
All right. Thank you for your question, Nicolas. Your voice was very clear. Everything was right. Miss Niavo, your response, please.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Nicolas. For small farmers, if they are developing sustainable agriculture, they will increase yield and better, more healthy crops. So they will get better productions. In this way, they will benefit from sustainable agriculture and getting more higher prices for their productions. But if they are joining also a cooperative, sometimes they can be certified related to with these cooperatives. In that way, they can develop and get higher productions related to sustainable agriculture. So there are two ways. First, in their own ways, they are not certified because their farms are very low, so they will not have more money to develop certifications. In that way, they can get higher productions, mainly from their own. But in the other way, it is possible to certify their project under a cooperative. In that way, they will get more access to market and higher productivity.
Let me try to add a little bit to the question from Nicolas, Miss Niavo, if you kindly allow me, please. The way I understand or interpret the question from Nicolas is, what happens, let's say, if a farmer wants to be in compliance with certification standards, for example, and then has no money. Money is always an issue. Whatever we want to achieve in life, we must have money. So the question, in a certain sense, is about where can those farmers find money if they want to get involved in agriculture and they have no financial means. What is a solution?
Okay, the main solution for that is joining cooperatives because money is really a main problem in certifications. So the best solution for them is joining a cooperative, a local cooperative where they can get support and also certified directly under this cooperative.
I like that answer. The precision was very clear, Nicolas. In the event there is a financial challenge that can be overcome by joining a cooperative. Usually that's what those cooperatives do. They provide some type of assistance, since we're talking about several hands being put together, then that can be enough to allow that individual or whoever is having an issue with finances to resolve that issue. Thank you very much, Ms. Niavo, for that clarification. Let's see if we can try you again, Che Amancho. Che Amancho?
Yes. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Hi.
Can you get me?
Yes, very well.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and a big thank you to the presenter. My question goes thus: what are the key principles of sustainable agriculture, and what role can that play in environmental conservation?
Okay. Principles of sustainability in the arena of agriculture, Ms. Niavo?
Yes, thank you for your question, Che. There are three main principles for this sustainable agriculture. The main three pillars that I have developed in the beginning of the presentation. First, we have environmental pillar, because it should protect the environment. Social pillar, sustainable agriculture need to involve local community and have impact to local community. And finally, best agricultural practices, which involved using tools or create methods to ensure that the agriculture is sustainable. That's the main three pillars.
Thank you very much, Ms. Niavo. The three main foundations of sustainability, Che, the environmental, the economic, and the social, talking about very specific agricultural practices. Anthony Adiera, the floor is on your end. Anthony Adiera.
Thank you very much. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Yes. I'm from South Sudan, a town of Torit. I would like also to contribute to this today's forum.
Right.
Thank you to the presenter. To me, looking at sustainable development, the challenge we face is due to political will. Our government and our leaders, they don't have political will because of personal interest. And to me, I would like really to know how, as people who are looking at sustainable agriculture and development, how can we really ensure that our leaders or political figures are able to be willing to accept this laid out sustainable way of agriculture to move our nation forward, or the whole world forward, because the fertilizers are manufactured by the business people, and business people are using these politicians to control the market or to control the system. So these are my question. How can we really ensure that they have the will to ensure that the sustainable way of agriculture is promoted?
We got it. Thank you very much, Anthony. Ms. Niavo?
Okay. So, if they use fertilizers, they need first to follow all the technical sheet of these fertilizers and ensure that the content and the quantity of fertilizers are well managed to ensure that the agriculture is sustainable. That's usually the main point, especially if we are talking, for example, for global gap standards, which is best sustainable standards related to agriculture. In that case, the use of pesticide need to be quantified and also checked from the technical sheet of the product.
Very clear, Ms. Niavo. But I would like to piggyback a little bit on this point raised by Anthony. That aspect of the question is mainly political. He was looking into the extent that political figures or heads of states or the authorities have the will to get involved in this process or campaign of sustainability. Now, again, the foundation there is essentially political because there is absolutely nothing anybody can do to force the authorities to be ethical or to be willing to jump into the bandwagon of sustainability. So this is my approach to this question you just raised, Anthony. So that's not very scientific, but we can only pray for those politicians to say, hey, we've got to do something for the people who are waiting. Only pray.
Yes.
All right, Sanelisa Russell-Dean, your turn.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to know, what incentives are there for women to engage in agriculture?
Oh,
globally?
That's a great question. Ms. Niavo, how can we push for women's participation, involvement in this endeavor?
Yes, women are mainly involved in agriculture, especially in small farms, because, for example, in Africa, we have different women working directly for agriculture. And to engage them, I think we need to sensitize local populations and also to develop how agriculture and give some training for these women to ensure that their productions follow all the sustainability or all the requirements needed to get a sustainable agriculture. That's how we can introduce you women on this agriculture production, I think.
Thank you very much for the advice, Ms. Niavo. I hope you get that point, Sanelisa. So it is kind of up to you to just say, okay, I'm now taking the lead to make sure that women around me, talking about you, Sanelisa, are gonna get involved. So you've got to make the move to make sure the women like you can be willing to participate. I'm very glad that women today are very, very active. And as a matter of fact, we have another one who wants to ask a question or get involved and make a comment. Shireen, go ahead, please. We are all ears.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question is, what could be the importance of sustainable development and agriculture?
Okay, I don't know if you got that very clearly, Ms. Niavo. If not, we're gonna ask.
Can you explain?
Yeah, let's ask you, Shireen, to go back because your son was a little muffled down. So let's repeat the question, please.
Okay, what could be the importance of sustainable development in agriculture apart from producing food?
Okay. Beside producing food, what can be a very, very positive outcome for sustainable agriculture? That's the way I understand the question. Am I right,
Yes,
Sharon?
okay.
Okay.
Okay, it's a good question because actually sustainable agriculture can really help in protecting the environment because if production is sustainable, we can get soil carbon by protecting the soil, and this can help protecting the general environment. It also help local communities and introduce works and economic revenue to local communities. That's what are most important, I think, for this sustainable agriculture.
I hope you are happy with that answer, Shireen, as we are now getting ready to switch to Donia Jonas Emmanuel Sanyinon. Donia, are you ready? Donia, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Do you understand? Do you hear my voice?
Very well.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. I have two of my concerns. The first one is related to access to land for the communities. I don't think, what do you think about this issue related to sustainability agriculture? And the last one is related to access to seeds.
Okay.
The community do not have access to the seed because of there are other persons who manage this process, and it is very difficult for them to produce without a good access for seed. How do you think about it?
Thank you.
Okay. For land access, I think it depends where the farmers is located, because usually farmers have their own land, and depending on the area where he is located, he can ask for from local authority, for example, if there is a land that is not used, they can ask for this land. But I think it's always depending on the local regulations and how the land access is authorized or not. But for me, for example, in my location in Madagascar, you can ask a land that is not used for last 10 years, for example, and farmers can ask for this land. But I think it depends on the location of farmers. And related to seeds, sometimes farmers have issues to access to better seeds because they don't have money, or it's a bit difficult to access. The solution for that is to join a cooperative, and on the different cooperatives there are projects that give seeds to farmers because, for example, they have rest funds, and they want to do better actions to local farmers, and in that case farmers can get better seeds and good quality of seeds.
Right to the point. We're going to go for two more questions, and starting with Shinagoram. Are you ready, Shinagoram?
Yeah, good afternoon from here.
Hi. We are losing you, Shinagoram. Oh
Can you
la.
hear me? Good afternoon from
Okay,
here.
right now,
Okay.
yes.
Oh,
Hi.
okay, can you hear me? Yeah,
Mhm.
sorry, I tried to join in before I was having a network challenge. So with my little experience in sustainability, agricultural sustainability, I have a question coming from my country,
Okay.
Nigeria. You know, we have a large population and we are an underdeveloped or developing nation. And the issue of production, we have two climates. We have the seasonal period of planting, and the next is the harvest season, the dry season. So the challenge is, how do you speak of sustainability in a layman language to a rural farmer? When I mean a rural farmer, I mean a farmer that doesn't have access to internet, that don't know what using mobile gadgets are not in tune with mechanized agriculture. What simple term can you use to describe
That's a very,
sustainability to
very
such people?
interesting question.
And
I love
secondly, I'm dealing with post-harvest losses. How can this group of farmers in these interior rural areas, not just rural, interior rural areas, understand a simple way of dealing with some of their products that are perishable? Take, for example, this season, there are a lot of harvest of tomatoes and some other perishable items. How can they preserve with little resources? What can we teach them? How to preserve this commodity so that the wastage from post-harvest loss could be reduced?
We got
So
the
these are my
point.
two
That's a
questions.
very, very important aspect of today's session. Thank you, Sheena Gorom. Ms. Niavo?
Okay, thank you for your questions. I think sustainable agriculture does not always need to involve tools or technological or higher techniques. But if, for example, if the production is traditional, it can be also sustainable. For example, because traditional agriculture does not involve any inputs or any higher technologies. So it can be sustainable as long as all the techniques are maintained. So sustainable agriculture does not always mean to use technological or higher tools if production is maintained and the three pillars are involved. In that case, the agriculture can be sustainable. The second question is, I don't remember. What is the second
Okay,
question?
actually, Ms. Niavo, the point that Donia was trying to make is that it's not an easy task to go to the interior of a country where people are not really knowledgeable about what's going on. They don't understand the concepts, and both the term sustainability and the risk of losing their products after the harvest. How can we go about explaining those things to make sure that people do the right thing without going to the big, difficult concepts? How can we make that clear to lay people?
Okay, so to face with that, usually there are different ONG and organizations non-governmental that are developing sustainable agriculture. And this project sensitize people related to sustainable agriculture, give training, and involve them in sustainable agriculture. That's usually I see here in Africa, especially, and in rural countries, how we teach people and teach local farmers to do this sustainable agriculture.
Okay. I did announce 2 more questions, the last 2. I do understand that the topic is extremely interesting, and people want to raise issues, pertinent issues that everybody wants to hear about. But unfortunately, brothers and sisters, I hope you understand and agree to cooperate with us. We do not have the necessary time. So we're gonna be able to afford 1 more question, like we announced, from this time, Cedric Bukasa. Cedric, go ahead, please. Cedric, your microphone. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Professor, for the presentation. My question concerns social impact and community engagement. I want to know how social outcomes such as community resilience, gender equality, and local employment be measured alongside environment and economic impact.
Thank you very much, Cedric. How do you address that, Ms. Niavo?
It depends on the standards of sustainability standards, but there is some metrics that the standards put for this economic and environmental pillars. So, for example, for social impact, we can note the numbers of employee created, the numbers of training, for example, the numbers of people trained, and also the rentability of a project. That's how it can be quantified, but it depends on the standards, and each sustainability standards have their own requirements. They put their own metrics to quantify the impact, even it is social or environmental.
Wow, that was very, very impressive. Thank you very much, Ms. Niavo. You have showed that you really possess good, solid mastery of the topic of agriculture. And pretty much like I put it at the very beginning of this session, ladies and gentlemen, the agriculture topic is essential. It is fundamental, no matter what angle you look at it from. We need to eat. We need to be on our feet. And this is coming from agriculture. And that's why I applaud each and every one of you for your very deep involvement. It hasn't been very often that you, the audience, the family of Atlantic International University has been that deeply involved. A lot of questions. That's the very first time we have had so many questions. Of course, the presenter was kind enough to have allowed enough time for those questions. And I'm grateful to you, Ms. Niavo, and I am grateful to all of you, including those who have not had the opportunity to ask questions, as we have run out of time. But rest assured, brothers and sisters, that each and every one of you is deep backbone of what Atlantic International University is all about. Your attendance was key to everything that we've done. My satisfaction with what we've done today is the result of your attendance, your presence, your being on this mosaic screen that I'm looking at right now. And once again, from the very bottom of my heart, I want to thank each and every one of you. Right before we speak collectively, that is together, to Miss Diavo and say thank you to her, let's give her another opportunity for a conclusion. Please, Miss Diavo.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, and thank you, everyone, for joining this presentation today. It was always a pleasure to join all of you, and you can remember that sustainable agriculture is really important, and we have three main pillars: economic, environmental, and social in this sustainable agriculture. That's my main conclusion.
Thank you very much. Please allow me to remind everybody as well that if there is anything that you missed, that you did not quite understand, you may review the whole presentation by making that request directly to your tutor. The tutor will do the necessary diligence to make sure you got a copy of the whole presentation to review at your leisure time. Thank you very much, each and every one of you. I keep saying that, people. I love you from the bottom of my heart.